What is the meaning behind the hexagonal honeycomb structure of the honeybee nest? This has been a natural phenomenon for hundreds of years. Honeybees don't merely make rough six-sided shapes, they make perfect equilateral hexagons, most every time in most every location. Two main arguments arise in the debate of the hexagonal mystery: an explanation of biological engineering or of blind physics. Honey is obviously an esteemed element to the honeybee colony. A large chunk of the colony spends a significant amount of their time flying around to obtain nectar in order to supply the honey. In order to protect their precious honey, the bees, thus, would want as tight and safe a spot possible to protect it, and still simple to make. Seeing as the honey used provides the wax to support the honeycomb, it only makes sense, then, that the honeybees choose a structural unit that is ubiquitous and can be repeated and stacked as the hive grows. There are only three shapes that would be able to account for this structural style of organization without creating any kind of gaps or excess material: the square, the triangle, and the hexagon. So why the hexagon out of the three of them? Thousands of years ago, Marcus Terentius Varro hypothesized that the hexagonal structure unit would be slightly more compact than the other shapes. Thus, the honeybees would use this geometry because the hexagon would take the smallest total perimeter. Though Varro could not prove it mathematically, years later, Thomas Hales would produce a formula to prove Varro's assumptions accurate, thus portraying honeybees as being able to produce an efficient biological feat of engineering. A radically different explanation for the explanation of the hexagonal structures formed by the honeybees still utilizes the idea that the honeybees would want to create a more compact, safe unit for the honey, but identifies with a more unintentional physics to the process. Engineer Buzan Karahelu conducted an experiment trying to prove that the bees, in actuality, started off with fairly simple circular units that, over time, developed into hexagonal units. Karahelu did this by interrupting honeybees in the process of making a honeycomb. The initial stage of construction produced units that were circular in shape, though the one that was slightly further in the process were significantly more hexagonal and had thinner supporting walls. This transformation has been explained to occur because as the bees work on the hive and knead, their body heat will heat the wax into a roughly 45 degrees Celsius temperature. The softened wax will then be forced by gravity into stretching out and relaxing into the shape of a hexagon via the cross sections as it heated and squeezed, thus making the hexagonal structure more of a happy accident rather than that of a biological engineering.